Most people in Fort Collins pick the wrong area and it costs them years of lifestyle regret. Let me show you why. In today's video, what we're going to be doing, it's going to be a little bit different. I'm going to do a map video for everybody here. What I'm going to get into is the lay of the land of Fort Collins, its relativity to where it's at in Colorado, where it's at in relative to other neighboring cities, and as well as just kind of the lay of the land of Fort Collins. If you are looking to move here, there are vastly different areas. There's everything from suburban to urban, as well as a little bit of mountain living as well. So we'll be getting into that. But first, I want to go into kind of where it's at in relativity to Denver and the rest of the neighboring towns. So if you are familiar with Colorado, Denver kind of sits right just north of center of the state. Fort Collins is going to be about an hour north of Denver. And so as you can see, it's about 60 miles kind of depending, but we have a main interstate here, I-25. That is kind of one of the main veins of Colorado. It just runs north to south. And that would be the main way that you would get to neighboring towns. We also do have Highway 287 that parallels it, but this highway does kind of go through other towns such as Loveland, Berthoud, Longmont, as you can kind of see. So it's not typically faster. I-25, because it is a main thoroughfare, does get a lot of traffic. So if you are commuting, be aware of that. And give yourself a big chunk of time. Sometimes it can take upwards of 2 hours if it is like a Friday afternoon. If you're heading to the mountains around 3 or 4 o'clock, that's a super heavy time. Just make sure you're giving yourself enough time and taking that into consideration if you are looking into Fort Collins. Getting into the area here, I'm gonna split it up into a few different sections. This north or southwest corner, southeast corner, kind of the central Fort Collins, and then the northern part of Fort Collins, as well as the west side of Fort Collins, and what that looks like. So first, I wanted to touch on the southwest part of Fort Collins here. One of the main areas that I wanted to look at is this area right here. This area consists of a few different neighborhoods. It is a very family-friendly neighborhood. You have Huntington Hills, you have Paragon Point. These homes were built anywhere from the late 90s to early 2000s. 3-bedroom, 4-bedrooms homes, a lot of families in these neighborhoods. Huntington Hills ranges anywhere from the 700s to maybe stretching to $1 million, whereas there are quite a few, $8 to $9 million properties in Paragon Point here. If we look at some of these houses in Paragon Point, you can get a better view of what the neighborhood looks like. As you can see, these houses are generous in size, some of them upwards of 5 bedrooms, but they do have that 90s build to them, but a really, really nice neighborhood, a little bit older, mature streets, but you can get a view. They're all typically 2-story in this neighborhood, good sized lots, a lot of manicured landscaping, a lot of home pride. Paragon Point's a great area. Huntington Hills is a fantastic area. I had a lot of friends growing up in this area, so I spent a lot of time in Huntington Hills. As you can see, it's in close proximity to Fossil Creek Park. So if you do have kids, that's a great option because they have direct access without getting on any major roads to this park. The park has basketball courts, a dog park, a skate park. As you can see, it has tennis courts, basketball courts. It has a few reservoirs as well and kind of trails throughout. So a really great park. On the other side, there are some condos. So if you are kind of looking for a lower price point, on the other side of the park, we have Miramont neighborhood as well. Pretty similar in terms of builds. You have Warner Elementary School, which is a great elementary school in the area. So a lot of walking distance or riding your bike distance, close proximity to that, as well as access to Southridge Greens golf course, which is a city course, but it is pretty spectacular. When you are playing it, you don't feel like you are on a city course. It is beautiful. There's lots of tiered holes and where you're either shooting, down a few hundred yards or shooting uphill. So it's a beautiful course. This area is really great. You have Bacon Elementary School right here as well. So as well as direct access to the out of here. As well as direct access to something called the Power Trail. So in Fort Collins, we have a bike loop that goes around the entire city. It runs right along the railroad tracks. I just want to show you the general layout of this bike path, which is awesome. This bike path will go all the way up north to this downtown area, cut across. It'll follow when you get north, it'll follow the Poudre River up here, and then go up into the Reservoir Ridge natural area. And then it'll reconnect. You just take this road overland down, it'll reconnect at Spring Canyon Park, in which case you can catch it again there at Fossil Creek Park, or you can cut over through a park called Rollmore. We'll touch on that later, and it connects back here too. The big loop in Fort Collins is 20 something miles. You can make little mini 15-mile loops if you are a cyclist or a runner. They plow it in the winter. It's like one of the first thing they plow. So great option there for just a safer way to get on your bike and get some physical activity. Moving on, this area right to the east of Paragon Point, Huntington Hills, is going to be a very family-friendly neighborhood. Top performing schools in the city. You can look it up on goodschools.org, on Reddit. The information is out there. This area is higher end living. A lot of the homes are newer. You have Fossil Lake Ranch, Harvest Park, and Observatory Village. These homes were built in the, early 2000s, a little bit newer, but you can see they're going to be really beautiful homes. A lot of these homes are going to be a little bit bigger in size. Typically, 4 to 5 bedrooms, a lot of them with 3-car garages. I'm going to get a sense for it here. Just really beautiful homes. Again, this community is very family heavy. There are a lot of families here, kids, things like that. And that is just due for a few reasons. You have close proximity to Fossil Ridge High School right here. You can kind of see. So this is going to be Fossil Ridge High School. You are going to have Zach Elementary School right here, which is great. And then you're going to have Kennard Core Knowledge Middle School as well in this area. So you have 3 major Fort Collins high schools, all within a mile of each other and all top performing, top tier. And they are all part of the Poudre School District, which is great. None of them are private, but they are all in very close proximity to a lot of neighborhoods in the area. You also have Twin Silo Park here. Twin Silo Park is a great park. It's got a playground, a dog park, a little BMX course, and some fields. This is where a lot of the kids had soccer practice, football practice, things like that. If your little ones are getting into sports, that's super convenient to have that right there as well. And you guys, I know this is a lot of information. There is so much I could go over in this video, but that is why it is important to reach out to me and my team. If you are looking in the area, I can help you explore and get way more detail oriented about exactly what you're looking for and what areas might be good for you and fit your lifestyle right now. Make sure you're reaching out, liking these videos, and subscribing so not only you but other people can get the facts and find the right information. So moving on from that corridor, just kind of a summary we have gone over. And next, I kind of want to go into more central of Fort Collins. So this center corridor area of Fort Collins is going to be quite a bit different from the other 2 areas that I just went over. The other 2 areas are very family friendly, a lot of kids, things like that. These next areas, while there are still families in the area, the age demographic is going to be a little bit higher. Public information, you can look that up. But Warren Lake Shores, there's a lot of lake living in this area. You have Lake Sherwood, as well as this little lake right here in Parkwood, which is beautiful. So Warren Shores is going to be absolutely gorgeous. You're going to find really large homes in this area, a lot of square feet. Let's see if we can take a look. Yeah, that's a perfect example of the home. These are all custom homes in this area. They're all on very large lots, a smaller neighborhood, but you can get an idea of the homes in this neighborhood. A lot of them have lakefront views, a lot of mature streets, private kind of driveways. A lot of them have drive-through driveways, because the lots are so big. These lots tend to be anywhere from half an acre. A lot of them are on 1 full acre, just to, you can see these big front yards. They all have very, very big, beautiful backyards as well. So let's see if we can't find a street view here. There we go. Perfect. A lot of these homes are on the lakefront. This picture was taken during the winter time. You can kind of tell the lake is down a little bit, but a lot of these homes have lakefront access, which is great. Again, beautiful custom home, a lot of drive-through driveways here. Really quiet neighborhood. Somebody was doing some renovations here. If you want lake access, this is one of your best spots in Fort Collins. You're centrally located, so you're close to a lot of amenities. They don't allow any motorboats on this lake, but you can kayak, paddleboard, and canoe. Again, just taking a look at the houses, you can see they're all custom. They're all absolutely beautiful. These homes do range. They're very large. They do range anywhere from probably 3,000 to 6,000 square feet on the higher end. A lot of these are $1 million homes, so upwards of some are over $1 million. So kind of in a higher price range, but that's what you're paying for. Lake access, lake views, a little bit more quiet of a neighborhood, like I had said. So there are some condos on the other side, a little more affordable. If you do still want that lake access, there are some condos right here. You are also close to Collindale Golf Course, another city course. It is flatter, more wide open. It definitely kind of has a city course feel, it's pretty forgiving, which is nice. But again, this Lake Sherwood, Nelson Farm area, these houses were built in the 70s, some in the 80s, as well as this Parkwood East area. If you are into mid-century modern homes, this neighborhood is pretty heavy with that. A lot of the homes in this area have been redone by their owners. You do have older homes, but like you can see, this garage has been redone. This home has been redone. So a lot of them have been remodeled by their owners. These homes were definitely built in the 80s, some in the 70s. And so you do have like a mid-century modern, probably one out of like every 5 or 6 houses. There's not a ton of that in Fort Collins. So if you are looking for that feel, this is a great neighborhood. Some of the owners have updated. They've whitewashed this brick, put on a new garage door, things like that. This neighborhood is great for investors because many people have redone their homes. There is a pocket of people who have not updated their home yet. There is still an opportunity to buy on the lower end, put some money into it, and maybe resell it. This is a good example here. You can see this person is in the works of updating their home as well. These lots are pretty big. These homes range anywhere probably from, 6 to, 800,000. If you get closer to, there are some lakefront homes here as well. So if you get closer to the lake here, they're going to be quite a bit more expensive. These ones face the lake, and as you can see, they're pretty large homes, which is not unexpected. But these homes are going to be upwards of $1 million, if not more. So these are the homes just kind of, there's a lake behind there, you can't see it. Yeah, those are going to be probably close to $1 million homes, if not more. But again, these homes all in this Parkwood area, as well as Nelson Farm and this whole area, typically around 700,000, 800,000 kind of range. So still a little bit more expensive, but you can definitely find homes 600. And there are some condos in there as well with a lower price point. You are close to Eldora Park, which is great. You're centrally located to 287, which is the main vein of Fort Collins. That's going to have all of the retail and shopping on there. But Eldora Park is great. It has the Epic, which is the Eldora Pool and Ice Center. So if you have if you like to swim a lot or play hockey, they have an Olympic-sized pool. This is where all the high schools swim as well. None of the high schools in the area have their own pools, so we all share kind of Eldora Center. There's tennis courts. There is a skate park here as well, playground, things like that. There's also a disc golf course, which I actually played last weekend. It goes around and has 18 holes. It's really nice. They market well, they upkeep it. So if you're into that, that's a really great course, kind of centrally located here as well. And again, these neighborhoods have really direct access to that powered trail I was talking about that runs through the city, kind of that big loop. So you're never really far from that trail. No matter where you end up, you're probably within a mile of being able to hop on that trail, which is just awesome. If we go a little bit west here, kind of west of 287, still in central Fort Collins, but a little bit west, we have a few different areas, and they differ pretty dramatically. And so I kind of wanted to touch on that. You'll notice a grid system here in Fort Collins. Each road is a mile apart, and all of them run from north to south or east to west, kind of depending. So you have Harmony, Horsetooth, you have Drake, Prospect, and Mulberry, and those run east to west. And then running north to south, you have Overland, Taft, Shields, 287, which is College Avenue, LeMay, Timberline, and then Ziegler Road picks up here and wraps around. Ziegler and Overland dead end at certain points, but Fort Collins is super easy to get around, which is really nice. It's pretty straightforward, and you have the mountains to the west. Getting around and figuring it out comes quickly to a lot of people. Fort Collins is really great. It's a little bit older of a neighborhood, again, but you are situated a little bit further west, so you're closer to trail access. You know, if you are into mountain biking, you know, hiking, things like that, you're a little bit closer, as well as you're kind of situated here in between two parks, which is awesome. You have Rollamore Park, a really great park. It has baseball fields, tennis courts, it has pickleball courts, it has a playground as well. It's one of the only parks in Fort Collins that has sand volleyball pits. The trail goes right through it. So if you wanted to hop on that trail, here's how you get there. The trail goes along the river and connects with Spring Canyon Park, which is absolutely massive. It turns into Pine Ridge Natural Area. But Fort Collins is really big on parks. Spring Canyon has a dog park, a really big kids playground. The playground also has fountains in the summertime that turn on, and the kids just run through there. This playground is really big. You're pretty far west, nestled right up there against the foothills, which is great. This is a lot of open space. So if you have kids, there's a lot of soccer practices that happen here, soccer games on the weekends. This park actually has a little BMX park as well, like a little dirt track. Let's see, which is rad. It's got like a little bike park for the kids. You can kind of see it here. There's like little jumps and berms and tabletops and features and things like that. It's really kind of cool. I've taken my nephew there a few times, so digs it. These homes here in this area, we have a lot of kind of split level homes. These homes, they're a little bit smaller, a lot of 3-bed, 1-bath, 3-bed, 2-bath type feel, but they're definitely a different style than what we've been previously looking at. So, you know, a lot of ranches and split levels. It's just kind of the era when these were built. Again, here we are, split level ranch. You know, a lot of these ranches that were built in this era are 3-bed, 1-bath. A lot of owners have gone in and maybe added a bathroom. So again, another split level home. So this is the main design of this neighborhood. A little bit more affordable. The homes in this area go from a high 4s, a little bit more updated homes. You're going to be maybe in the high 5s, mid 5s, things like that. So definitely a little bit more affordable area. You're still in the Peters School District, which is great. So, but just kind of a little bit older homes, you know, 70s, 80s, things like that. But you are, again, centrally located just a little further west, but you have such great access to parks, recreation, things like that. So if you are into recreation, parks, you want to be able to hop on the trail very quickly, this is a great option for you. Just north of Prospect Road, the demographic becomes almost exclusively college students. There are some homeowners here, but primarily this is where all the college students who do not live on campus live. So again, kind of Prospect Road. There are a few sprinkled in south of Prospect and maybe a little bit north of Mulberry, but between Prospect and Mulberry and all the way to Overland, we'd see a lot of college students. Colorado State University is kind of this square mile here. These homes here are typically almost all ranches, 3-bed, 1-bath, 3-bed, 2-bath, some split levels as well. There are some homeowners, in this area, but this is a very high rental area. And so this area is where all of the kids look for their housing when they are at CSU. Yeah. So as you can see, Bryan Avenue is one of the main roads that run through this neighborhood. These are all ranch style homes. A lot of them are 3-bed, 1-bath, 2-bed, 1-bath, but very heavy renters in this area. Some home ownership, of course. Some people have gone in and updated their homes. This one's very, very nicely landscaped. It might be owner occupied, but just again, this is kind of just that area of Fort Collins. That's what you're going to see for the most part in this area. And as you move further north, and I also do want to mention that this area is also a really great area for investors, this college area. So if you are an investor in the area, reach out with my contact information listed in the description below. There are many properties that would be great investments in this area. The rental rate is always in demand because of Colorado State University, one of the major universities in Colorado. Even in college, we lived right here by Avery Park. 30-something people at an open house one day to go see this property that we ended up renting. You typically have people around the block lined up to rent properties in this area just because of the location and proximity. If you are an investor, reach out. There are always off-market properties, things like that. As we move further north, this is going to be downtown Fort Collins, north of Mulberry, a little bit west of Shields, but this main square mile here is going to be some of the most desirable real estate in Fort Collins. This is going to be very urban living in Fort Collins. So if that's what you're looking for, this is definitely your area because of the walkability, bikeability, and location to downtown Fort Collins. It has, some of the highest real estate prices in Fort Collins, not because of the size of the home, just because of the price per square foot. And the demand is super high. If you haven't seen what downtown Fort Collins looks like, it's super cute. Disneyland's Main Street is actually designed after downtown Fort Collins. So as you can see, just really old, kind of buildings. This is called the Square. As you can see, there's shopping. There's an arcade bar right here. There's Lucky Joe's, an Irish bar, super fun. There's fountains in the summertime. They have this entire square lit up for the holidays. I highly recommend Googling Fort Collins downtown lights. They throw a drone up in the air and record the whole thing. It's incredible. Like, it's one of the coolest things you'll see. So again, these old buildings really nicely. And so it's just a really neat area down here. There's always something going on. There's just local boutiques, local shops, coffee shops, bars. You got a barber shop here, which is pretty cool. The Old Town Pump, one of the Old Town's oldest bars. It used to be cash only. I'm not sure if it still is. I think it is, but it's got a capacity of 50 people or something. It's tiny. It's literally the definition of a hole in the wall. It's just a really neat area down here. And all of this yellow is pretty much downtown Fort Collins. So it goes pretty much from Mulberry to Willow Street. They have started expanding it a little further north, pushing the shops and gentrifying the area, which is great. It used to really end right here at Maple Street, but there is so much going on in downtown Fort Collins every single weekend. If you are somebody who just wants something to do all the time, this is definitely where you want to be. The walkability and bikeability of this area is just unmatched, and the houses are really neat. This is some of the most expensive real estate in the area. These homes are quite old. Some were built in the early 1900s, but you can kind of get an idea of what they look like here. A lot of these owners have taken really good care of these homes and updated them very nicely. Mountain Street is one of the more famous streets in Fort Collins. So I just want to show you guys what that looks like. So again, these homes are typically really old, early 1900s. Some of them have been more well kept than others. Mountain Avenue is this beautiful street that runs east to west. You can see the trolley truck here. We have a trolley that runs on the weekends in the summertime. And so that's a really cool thing to do as well. Kids love that. You can see these streets are beautifully lined with trees in the summertime. This must have been the wintertime. There are no leaves on the trees, but you can see it's got that cottage, almost Victorian vibe going on. They're all custom, all different, which is really cool. So you can find definitely a variety of style of homes on this, in this area. So just kind of giving you an idea of what, the area looks like, which is really cool. Some of them are a lot bigger than others. You can see this one's pretty big. A lot of them are 2-bedroom, 1 bath, 2-bedroom, maybe 2-bath homes, maybe a 3-bedroom. Like I mentioned, some of them are updated and some of them aren't. And this might be an old Google view, so it doesn't quite look like this anymore. As you can see, these aren't the largest homes in Fort Collins, but the price per square foot can range upwards of $550 per square foot. So this is some of the most expensive real estate in Fort Collins. This area right here kind of goes a little bit east of I-25 too. So this entire area right here is just very high demand. It's cute, it's cozy. Your walkability and bikeability to so many things is just ridiculous. You have a supermarket super close, and you are also in very close proximity to things like New Belgium Brewing Company. Odell Brewing Company is right there as well. If you are a beer connoisseur, definitely an area of interest, as well as just being in really close proximity to the Cache-la-Poudre River. A lot of people float the river in the summer, go swimming, things like that. So, and again, that bike trail snakes along this river and goes all the way north to LaPorte, and then you just take it all the way back down to Spring Canyon Park. So really, really great system that they've developed here. But that's kind of the downtown area of Fort Collins. It is just like such a central hub. There aren't a ton of really big parks in the area, a little bit different than those southern neighborhoods we looked at earlier. You do have City Park, which has a great little lake that you can kind of walk around. You have City Park 9, which is actually one of my favorite little city golf courses in the area. This has a water park for kids in the summer, and every 4th of July, this is where the city of Fort Collins typically shoots off their fireworks. Some years we don't have them just because we do live in a high desert. There's fire danger, things like that. So typically, depending, as well as tax cuts and unfortunately things like that. But that is where the fireworks are held. So again, something to look forward to in this area. As you get out west, things do get a little bit more affordable for sure. Rogers Park, actually, I mentioned in one of my previous videos, is one of the most affordable areas in Fort Collins. Let's take a look so you can get an idea of what this looks like. You can still have closer proximity to downtown, but you're just in a different area. You're not as close. The biking, you're a couple miles away. But again, a lot of split levels here. You can find houses in the 400s, 500s. This is a great option. I actually love this area of Fort Collins. A open area called Maxwell Shoreline right here. You can hop on a lot of trails, but you are a little bit removed from the downtown, any shopping, really, things like that. The west area looks like the Ponds at Overland, a really nice neighborhood. A little bit further west. I'm not going to get into each neighborhood. I've done other videos on this channel going over the top neighborhoods in Fort Collins, as well as the most affordable and the most expensive. If you haven't checked those out, definitely do so. If you are looking into being in Fort Collins, I think a lot of people think Fort Collins is a mountain town, which it's not. We are directly in the foothills. So the foothills kind of begin, here, I'll show you. Go there. So the foothills begin, there we go, right on Overland. So this is a great view. You have the mountains right there, but anything east is flat. And so Fort Collins, for the most part, is very, very flat. And then you get into into the hills and the foothills. If you are looking into being more in the mountain area, there is a neighborhood that sits actually right behind or adjacent to Lori State Park. This is one of my favorite areas, all custom homes. You do have to take into account when it snows, like it just snowed last week, 8 or 9 inches. You might get 12 to 14 inches because you're in the foothills technically. Plowing, things like that. If you're commuting to Denver, you might not get out in the morning. And so just taking that into consideration when you are considering either that neighborhood or on the south end of Horsetooth is going to be Horsetooth Mountain Open Space. You have this neighborhood kind of in here. Custom homes, people usually buy lots in this area and then build on them. Lots are becoming kind of more scarce. You are super close to an entire trail network. If that's something that's super important to you, you don't want to get in your car to go ride your bike, to mountain bike, or to hike. Fort Collins does offer this. This is technically outside of city limits, but for those who are interested in that, it is there for you. So definitely some finds up there. Yeah. And then just kind of, I wanted to touch on a little bit. Again, this is typically outside of city limits, but as you go further north, you get into more of these lake areas, and the Fort Collins Country Club is up here. I have mentioned in one of my previous videos that some of the most expensive real estate in Fort Collins is in right here, this lakefront road, Cottonwood Point. There are beautiful homes that line this road, and it is the most expensive real estate in Fort Collins. You can't even drop a guy there because it is a private road, but it is absolutely beautiful. You have a lot of lakefront properties in this area, but you also have some really affordable neighborhoods. So Maple Hill, I've also mentioned in one of my previous videos, is a super affordable neighborhood in Fort Collins. Water Glen, you can still find homes in the 400s to 500s typically, and they're built in the 2000s, so a little bit newer. Waterfield is a brand new build neighborhood, and I had gone over that in my previous video, so make sure you check that out. Really cool area, but there's a lot of new neighborhoods in this area. The Reserve Country Club is up here, Waterfield, a lot of new build neighborhoods. There's a lot of open land. Developers are taking advantage and building new nice neighborhoods to fit the demand of the housing we need. So Fort Collins, so again, just kind of an overview here. You have a few different sectors. We went over Fossil Creek, Huntington Hills, Paragon Point, Fossil Lake Ranch in here. This is kind of that middle central location, and then you get up into downtown. So you do have neighborhoods sprinkled throughout. There's so much going on. I can't go over everything in this video, but Fort Collins typically does end at I-25 here. So, but outside of Fort Collins, it has unfortunately become not super affordable anymore. Growing up here, it was a super affordable place, but it has just become the lifestyle hub of Colorado, which is great. You're paying a premium for the lifestyle in the area. And so you're really close to a lot of great trails, active lifestyle, super safe community. Everybody looks out for each other, low crime rate, and as well as Peter School District is one of the top school districts in Colorado. So again, this is all public information, facts, but it is a really desirable place to live, and you do pay a premium. But, there are pockets outside of Fort Collins that still are affordable that you may be able to, it may be just a short drive to Fort Collins. Loveland's median house price is significantly lower than Fort Collins, but their age demographic is about 10 years older, but it also, it's got access to really cool parks. Devil's Backbone is absolutely beautiful. You have Mariana Butte Golf Course down here. You have Seven Lakes area, which includes Boyd Lake. You can motorize boat on that as well. So, a lot of commonality with Fort Collins in terms of outdoor stuff, but it doesn't have the downtown. It has gentrified their downtown a little bit, but it just can't quite match the downtown vibe of Fort Collins. So again, that's something that people here want to pay for and will be happy to pay a premium for. Timnath is a newer community just east of I-25. Timnath does have some affordable housing, but for the most part, the median home price is a tick higher than Fort Collins. The homes have a lot of very high quality homes and very custom homes, and just that's kind of why that price point is so high. Windsor's affordable. Severance is really, really affordable. And so if you are looking into the area, Severance might be a great spot for you. If you don't care too much about being close to the mountains or anything like that, Severance has some beautiful homes. A lot of new builds in Severance as well. So there are some pockets around Fort Collins, again, that you can find some affordability, but also, like I had mentioned, and check out my previous video about the affordable neighborhoods in Fort Collins, you definitely can find some deals. If you are interested in finding an affordable home or looking in Fort Collins and kind of struggling to find something in your price range, reach out. I definitely know of some pocket listings, things like that. There's always deals to be found in Fort Collins. You just have to know where to look. All right, I think that's it for today's video. I appreciate you guys watching. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me and my team if you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate in Fort Collins. My contact information is in the description below. Let me know what you thought about today's video. If anything surprised you, if you have any questions about specific suburbs of Fort Collins or what you're looking for and what area would best fit your needs and wants. Thanks again for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video.